Welcome to Ulam Avram and Sarah. We're inside Mearat Hamachpela now, and this is where, according to the tradition, in this place, underneath here, deep in the cave, this is the resting place of Sara Imeinu. This week's Parsha, Parshas Chayei Sarah, the Parsha starts off, Vayhi Chayei Sarah, 100 shana, ve'esrim shana, ve'sheva shana, shnei Chayei Sarah. The life of Sarah was 100 years, 20 years, 7 years. These were the days, the life of Sara Imeinu. So we all know the famous Rashi, when she was 100, she was like 20 and 20 like 7. But if we look carefully at the end of that Rashi says something which blows us away, and that is, V'kol shaneh, all of her years, kulan shavin l'toiva, they all were equal in goodness. And it's something which is hard to understand. How could a woman who was kidnapped twice, who was childless for so many years, who left behind her family, who never had one home to call home, she was constantly on the go, lech lecha, always moving around. When they finally came to Eretz Yisrael, there was famine. And how does Kulan Shavin L'Toiva? How does Rashi say that? How could that be true, that all of her years were equal in goodness? And this is the greatness of Sarah Imeinu, which is what we're going to explore today. We're all familiar also with the famous medrash that how did Sarah Imeinu die? After the Akedah, the Satan came to Sarah and he told Sarah Imeinu that Avram has sacrificed her only son, whom she waited for so long, on the Mizbeach. Uparcha nishmasa. And she died, as it says in Pasuk Beis, Vatama Sarah b'Kiryat Arba hi Chevron. And Sarah died in Kiryat Arba, which is Chevron, where we are right now. The Eretz Canaan vayava Avram lispoitza l'Sarah uliv kosa. So, what we're used to thinking, right, which we're now going to upgrade that thinking, is that Sarah Imeinu, when she heard that her only child Yitzchak was sacrificed on the altar, she died a heartbroken mother's death. And the Chasam Sofer comes and teaches us a 100% not. The Chasam Sofer says, read the pasuk carefully, because there's a remiss to the way that Sarah Imeinu died in the pasuk. It says, Vatama Sarah b'Kiryas Arba hi Chevron. And the Chasam Sofer says, Sarah Imeinu, she was on such a high madregash. Her nevuah was greater than Avram Avinu, as it says in last week's parsha, Shema b'koila. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Avram Avinu, listen to her voice. She has nevuah. She has a greater nevuah, Rashi says, even than Avram's nevuah. And we know that in order to have nevuah, a person has to be b'simcha. They have to be in a constant state of joy. So how could it be that Imeinu Sarah, who was on such a high level of nevuah, would die of a broken heart from hearing that Avram had fulfilled Hashem's will and sacrificed Yitzchak on the Mizbeach? And the Chasam Sofer, the answer is in Pasuk Beis, Vatama Sarah b'Kiryas Arba hi Chevron. It looks like a misa of Kiryat Arba. It looks like a death of the 4 elements of man: water, fire, offer, and ruach, dust and wind. But really, what kind of misa was it? It was a misa of Chevron. It was a misa of chibur to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chevron from Lashon of connection, of chibur. And the Chasam Sofer says that when Sarah Imeinu heard that Avram had sacrificed Yitzchak on the Mizbeach, she was so happy, she was so b'simcha, that her physical body could not contain such a lofty soul. As we know, the greatest way to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the highest level of dveikus, is through simcha. And at that point, says the Chasam Sofer, Parcha nishmasa, her neshama pashut left her body. The body could not hold something which was so spiritual and so happy. V'parcha nishmasa. And this is what the word Chevron means. The ultimate connection. Chevron, this is the place here in the Mearat Hamachpela, in the Ulam Yitzchak v'Rivka, which is off limits to us most days during the year. In there is the place where Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba meet. And this in Mearat Hamachpela, this is the place where couples are buried. Zugot, Adam and Chava, Avram and Sarah, Yitzchak and Rivka, Yaakov and Leah. And this is the place where the Gemara says, whoever is buried here, scharam mikupal, their schar, their reward for everything they did in this world is double. Everything is double here. Mearat Hamachpela. It's a cave inside a cave. Why is this? This is because all of the people who are buried here, and especially Sara Imeinu, who this place was purchased in her zchus, as the pasuk says in Eretz Yisrael, which according to the medrash was written as that was the hesped, that was the eulogy which Avram Avinu gave for Sarah. He says about her, Zamama Sodeh v'tikachehu. She contemplated the field and she acquired it. Wait a second, Sarah Imeinu didn't acquire the field, the Sada of Ephron Achiti, where we are now, in the Mearat Hamachpela. She didn't acquire it. Avram Avinu bought it. He bought it b'kesef malei. He paid a lot of money for it. Why does it say Zabam Masada v'tikacheu? That Sarah Imeinu contemplated the value of the field and she acquired it? Because it's talking about the reason why Avram was so insistent that Sarah Imeinu be buried here is because Sarah Imeinu personified the combination of Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba. We tend to think things are sometimes, this is separate, this is it. Now I'm washing dishes. Later in the day I'm going to daven. Now I'm davening. Later in the day I'm going to go out to work. But Sarah Imeinu, there was no difference between davening and washing dishes. Hakol shavin l'toiva. Everything was for good because the direction she was going in was coming closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, was kirvat Hashem Yisbarach. The pleasure that she had from taking every psiyah forward, every step forward, coming closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even through all the hardships, this is what kept her going all the years, and this is why she had to be buried in Chevron, because Chevron is the place where Olam Hazeh meets Olam Haba, and this is what Sarah Imeinu's whole